The Lord be with you. I'm grateful that you can join us for this Memorial Day service, which has been a part of our worshiping life here at Palma Presbyterian Church for a quarter of a century. Memorial Day is the day when appropriately we remember, specifically focusing on remembering those whose lives have been lost in the service to their country. And it certainly includes family members and friends who have been a part of the history and the fellowship of this community. But this Memorial Day is different in that we come to it in the awareness of the nearly 100,000 lives at this point who have been lost because of the COVID virus. So the grief in the wider community is a staggering grief. And I point you towards the link to the memorial service from the National Council of Churches that we're sharing on our website and social media. This is also a place where you can go to share in worship, in prayer, in ritual, as we acknowledge the losses that are a part of our journey in this pandemic. Let us worship God. Let us remember those who gave their lives and those who missed them in this time of memorial. I open with a prayer written by the Reverend Joe Connors, a Presbyterian minister and friend of this congregation. Please pray with me. In the quiet sanctuaries of our own hearts, let each of us name and call on the one whose power over us is great and gentle, firm and forgiving, holy and healing. You who created us, who sustain us, who call us to live in peace, hear our prayer today. Hear our prayer for all who have died, whose hearts and hopes are known to you alone. Hear our prayer for those who put the welfare of others ahead of their own, and give us hearts as generous as theirs. Hear our prayer for those who gave their lives in the service of others and accept the gift of their sacrifice. Help us to shape and make a world where we will lay down the arms of war and turn our swords into plowshares for a harvest of justice and peace. Comfort those who grieve the loss of their loved ones, and let your healing be the hope in our hearts. Hear our prayer today, and in your mercy answer us. In the name of all that is holy, amen. A reading from the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verses 12 through 17. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. I do not call you servants any longer, because the servant does not know what the master is doing. But I have called you friends, because I have made known to you everything that I have heard from my Father. You did not choose me, but I choose you, and I appointed you to go and bear fruit, fruit that will last, so that the Father will give you whatever you ask him in my name. I am giving you these commands so that you may love one another. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. It has always been the case in human endeavor that a community which seeks justice, peace, and freedom as a part of its character requires the courage, effort, and sacrifice of some citizens who are willing to speak for that character, work for it, and defend those precious gifts in the life of the community. That some have spent their lives in obtaining and preserving those gifts for the community is not a sign that they did not also love life, or that they loved it less, and certainly not that they chose to die. Nor is it a reason to glorify war or violence, the crucible in which too often they stood in harm's way in an effort to seek and preserve the blessings of peace and justice and freedom. Rather, their living and their willingness to stand in harm's way as a part of their living is an extraordinary testimony to their valuing those blessings within the community, within the nation. And remembering their service is a call to us to so order our living toward the qualities of justice, freedom, and peace, which better allow us as a fellowship, as a community, as a nation, to love one another. The Litany of Remembrance for Memorial Day. Lift up your hearts.
We lift them up before the Lord.
Lord, hear our prayers of remembrance for those whose lives were lost in war, friends, siblings, parents, and children.
We lift them up before the Lord.
For those who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life.
We lift them up before the Lord.
For those whose sacrifices further the cause of freedom, justice, and righteousness.
We lift them up before the Lord.
For those who brought love with power to defeat power without love.
We lift them up before the Lord.
For innocent victims, casualties of conflict, those who fell in harm's way.
We lift them up before the Lord.
For those who grieve and share the burden of sacrifice.
We lift them up before the Lord.
For public servants in any context who serve, protect, and strengthen the community.
We lift them up before the Lord.
Lord, hear our prayers of remembrance. Let us keep silence. Amen.